So there are some common objections to cloud computing, and some of those objections are unfounded, but some have some credibility and need to be explored a little bit further. And the first one of those is security. And oftentimes people say, well, what about security? I'm now taking my data and putting it somewhere where I can't really see or touch or feel it. And that's a fair consideration, and there's a few levels to that security consideration that should be explored. They're unique to each business. If you're in the legal world and you've got to be concerned about chain of evidence, that needs to be explored a little bit further and may not be satisfied with your everyday run-of-the-mill cloud computing solution. The other part of that is data location and privacy. Again, people say, I'm losing control of my data, I'm putting it somewhere else, and I'm a little worried about it. On those two areas, security and data and privacy, one of the things we need to think about is, if I've moved all my data to a service provider who's invested millions of dollars in their infrastructure to make sure it's up and running and secure and private, do they have a better chance of keeping it secure and private there, or in your closet down the hall where your IT stuff sits, right? So let's weigh that all and balance that all as we're exploring those options. More often than not, the hosted providers that provide these applications as a service have compliance dialed in for security, have data location and the privacy, all of that figured out in a way that satisfies any auditing requirements that you might face. Another consideration is internet dependency, and this is a fair one. Now, if I'm relying on all of my services being delivered via the internet, I may need to look at having some sort of redundant internet connection or redundant way to access things. I would argue that the savings that you would find in a cloud computing solution will more than pay for an internet redundancy solution. Availability and migrating my data is also a consideration. Again, regarding availability, if we were going to a top-tier cloud computing provider, they're going to have service level agreements and things in place to protect you to make sure that your services are available and your data is available when you need it. And as this industry has grown, there are plenty of tools out there nowadays to help migration of taking your existing information and putting it up in the cloud, making it very seamless and a very easy process, sometimes less intensive than upgrading your existing systems.